When people find themselves in extreme situations, they usually discover what is important. If they are really lucky, they may discover who they really are and who they want to be. If they are extremely lucky, they will discover who they love, who they really cherish, and who they want to be with. Extreme situations have a way of uncovering the truth. We are in a plague situation. If ever there was an extreme situation, then this is it. A situation that has uncovered a truth, one that people would prefer was a lie. It is simply this. We have witnessed the slow manslaughter of our elderly people. We have witnessed thousands of them dying, not simply as people within a vulnerable age range, but as passive and vulnerable recipients of a deliberate negligence. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because it's easy. There's nothing difficult in practicing a slow manslaughter and then speeding it up when the circumstances already exist for it to spread, just like a virus in itself. Extreme situations have a way of uncovering the truth. And those elderly people, especially those we know, those we have shared a life with, those whom we love, especially those for whom we care, they can always be pointed to as evidence that we as individuals care. But as a people and as a nation, we do not care. And this is the truth that we would prefer was a lie. Elderly people present us with a paradox. They live on and on largely as a result of improved nutrition, high standards of public health, and above all, a national health service. We can't simply get rid of them as a matter of public policy, for that would openly reject the very reason for our health service. It would also undermine the very notion of health in itself. Instead, elderly people are the evidence for and the product of our health culture. They are the outcome and the living embodiment of a health service that has actually worked for them. But as a people and as a nation, we don't actually want them around. We prefer evidence of health and vigour to be focused on those who are more obviously cured, the young well, the middle-aged well, those stretching, smiling and exercises within a fitness regime. But the images we do have of elderly people in institutions and in care homes are images of people who are obviously not cured. They exhibit all the signs of age: fatigue, wrinkly skin, grey hair, and lack of mobility, together with all the grim equipment of age and disability: Zimmer frames, walking sticks, crutches, hoists and bedpans. And therein lies the paradox. We can't actually parade our elderly people as the desired product of our health service, but we can't actually deny their existence either. We pretend that death belongs to them, that death is the next career move that they are going to make. We pretend that from the moment of our birth, death belongs to people like them, and not something actually embedded in our own infancy, childhood, youth, and our own middle and elderly age, not something embedded in our own flesh every moment and every microsecond of our existence. So we melt elderly people down. We melt them into one single group so that we can talk about them as a solid mass. We find it quite natural to decide what the elderly want and what their needs might be. We also find it natural to strip them of all their assets, their houses, their furniture, their gardens, their savings, in fact, all their possessions, so that there is nothing left for their descendants, as if they never had descendants at all, as if they were just part of one solid mass that we can talk about. That is why, in the hiddenness of private institutions, elderly people may confidentially choke to death without receiving treatment specific to COVID-19. Be zipped into body bags, be taken away, be disposed of with the barest of funerary rites, become the stripped-down ending to a stripped-down life. But have you heard a new sound recently? If you have, you will recognize the hard clattering of flaps, opening and closing. And you will soon get used to the din as more and more of them come into service. This is the noise that escape hatches make as people pop in and out. Soon the racket will be so great that only the odd word can be heard above it. You might detect such phrases as providing appropriate support, or fresh funding allocation, or provision of new resources, or we have to rethink the whole system, or even targeting the most vulnerable. Soon the mountain of new proposals will rival the pile of dead elderly people. Earlier on I said, we have witnessed the slow manslaughter of our elderly people. We have witnessed thousands of them dying, not simply as people within a vulnerable age range, but as passive and vulnerable recipients of a deliberate negligence. It is beyond doubt that the state, the people, the nation, owe a duty of care to those who cannot help themselves, especially people who live in care homes. This is an overriding duty that cannot be got behind. Where people die from such gross and deliberate negligence, then manslaughter occurs. It becomes a flagrant breach of duty towards those defenseless persons, and can only occur where there is a blatant and pre-existing disregard. No mountain of new proposals, nor piles of dead elderly people will change anything until this disregard vanishes. Even such helpful phrases as elderly people are people just like us exposes the situation starkly, in that the us is taken to be the default to which elderly people might be invited. No micro adjustments can cure this. No money, no special training for care staff, no nationalisation of institutions, nor anything that treats elderly people as a sector, nor anything based upon problem-solving solutions. None of this will ever work until that underlying and persisting disregard vanishes. Thank you for listening.